we had a catch up, was in Dundee at the Doubletree by Hilton, which was actually quite a nice venue. Thought we've not used that one before, but I think it worked quite well for us. Back at the start of October, which I can't believe how long ago that is now. So we have obviously myself on the line today, and we have Stuart. I'm delighted that can join us from Sage as well. Lorraine, have you met Stuart before?
Yes, we
Yes,
met a few weeks ago, yes.
Great. And Mark, I don't know if you've met Stuart or not, but yeah, it's great to have Stuart covering for Hannah while she's off on maternity leave. And he's been doing an amazing job getting around Scotland.
Trying my best.
I think you've got some amazing transportation device that you can click your fingers and you're in Orkney and Shetland before we know it.
Yes, I do love the toy planes. They're glorious.
So what I'd like to just run through this morning is the input that we gave into the October meeting. So we'll have a quick recap on the topics that we chatted about at the October meeting. So we did some roundtable events with Sage there. I think there were kind of 4 or 5 different topics that we had a chat about. So we'll just have a quick update on where we are with them. But quite a lot of the session I'd quite like to spend on getting a bit of input from you just on what you would like to see from the Sage user group Scotland meetings going forward, who you would like to be at them from Sage, what kind of areas are really of interest. So what's the kind of key things that accountants that are using Sage software are really talking about at the moment? Where would you like to see the products going in the future? And how will we shape the meetings going forward? And then we'll have a quick chat about the spring 2020 meeting. So just to take us back to the October session, we had the majority of the time we used to run round table sessions. So we had a talk about making tax digital, kind of a quick recap on where we are at the moment, and then a kind of look to the future as in what's coming next. We had a roundtable all talking about the compliance side of things, and we also touched on the changes around the capital gains tax. We discussed Accountant Network and the future plans for what was the kind of Accountants Club. And then we moved on to Sage Business Cloud, accounting and bureau options, and payroll bureau itself as well. So how to enable the practice and onboard your clients. And we also had a discussion about any value added services that Sage could bring to accountants in Scotland. And we had a Q&A. So Stuart, do you mind if I just pass over to you at this point, just to kind of bring us up to speed on where we are with kind of where we left off in October?
Certainly, no problem. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning. So yeah, I'll run through them individually, and then give a little bit of kind of feedback that we took away the best I can, because I know it was back in October, but 2 months in two months in Sage is like 2 seconds. So I'll try and give you the best I can. So MTD 2.0, which is what David Scott was covering, and also Julia, who was at the event. Really, that's kind of been put on hold until we got the results of the election. So now that's in, we are now going full speed ahead with the changes that need to happen with that. We've got a much clearer direction about where, although it's not 100% certain because the government can change their mind, as we all know, but we're quite clear on where that's going. So we'll be kind of rolling out some information about that, probably at the latter part of January, beginning of February. So that's where that MTD piece stands. Around compliance and capital gains, we're still waiting to get confirmation on what we will do with this, but we took the feedback obviously from the group, which suggested that maybe this should be done in conjunction with solicitors. So we're exploring options currently to facilitate that, what that might look like, and how we'll move forward with that. But again, at the moment, that's still to be confirmed within our legal team. So obviously when we meet again at the next Lugo event, I'm sure we'll have a lot more information then, but as it currently stands, that's where we're at with the compliance and capital gains piece. The accountants network, so we're obviously trying to continually look at support and help practices grow. You know, that's obviously our main focus within the accountants area. So what we're looking to do is implement a performance review. So that's going to be free of charge to all network customers. And in that, we're going to suggest how we look at that efficiency automation piece and how you're reaching your goals to get more time, etc. And other things will be happening around that as well. So I suppose watch this space for that one, because we're going to be reaching out to specific practices over the next kind of 2-3 months to go through the accountants network piece. And if anyone's obviously interested in being part of that trial, then reach out, and I'll be more than happy to put your name forward to our product team. The Sage Business Cloud piece. So we've released, and there should be some information have either been sent via email, or you would have seen in our marketing piece around the new ledger and bureau tiers, which are a little bit more options available to you as a practice to give your clients either more or less of an access piece, but it may be more appropriate pricing point. And we've also removed our bundle pricing, which hopefully you've received some information about. So we're no longer now selling big bundles of 50 licenses at £5 a license, as we collated a large amount of feedback along with the Lugo event, where we were finding that it's a great price. However, if you buy 50 and you use 30, then very quickly that discounting piece disappears after 6, 9, 12 months. So we've removed that now, and we are just going on a license by license basis. And each practice gets 25% off for the first 12 months. So we've took that direct feedback from practices and implemented what was asked for. So I think that's a really good piece in case to look at feedback coming directly from practices and being implemented within Sage. So that's the SBC. Moving on to Payroll Bureau, we are developing and not far off a getting started guide, which will help with the streamlining and ensuring kind of easy install and setup. It's difficult to go into more depth about the payroll at the moment, because a lot of it's kind of still in product and still being kind of tested, but is something that is due for release very, very soon. But I'm quite excited about it. I know that's probably the worst thing to say and then not give you any information on the back of it, but I love Payroll Bureau, and I love all of the portal that comes with it, but there's some really good, exciting stuff coming with it. And I personally believe maybe 2-3 versions time, there should be no reason why anyone hasn't got Bureau installed. It's included in your package. You don't pay any more for it, and there should be no reason why people aren't accessing payroll directly through the Bureau icon as well. But you'll see more information about that coming in the next kind of 2 to 3 months, and I'll reach out, and then we'll also cover it obviously in the next Lugo event. And then finally, the value add services. Really, this is getting a lot of attention and something that we're really trying to focus on over the next 6 to 12 months within Sage. We're looking to partner with a number of ISVs in order to kind of deliver the tools that accountants need to move into that advisory space. We've got we'll have a marketplace launching actually at the end of January, which is exciting, and that's going to help us facilitate that piece. What we're trying to do now is, and you would have probably seen a lot of information and a lot of detail coming across around auto entry and a lot of the automation piece. That's where the main focus is going to be for the remainder of the kind of financial year within Sage. But what we want to do is, by doing the automation and implementing it in each practice, is give you the time for you to look at those ISVs and then move into the more advisory space. We really have got a lot of feedback from partners and different levels within practices, where that new generation coming into practice is more interested in moving into the advisory space, not interested in sat there as a junior member of staff kind of typing in information. So this is something where we've got a lot of focus on with the support of auto entry. And like I said, by the end of January, we'll launch the marketplace with all the ISVs on, and any feedback that you have around any ISVs that are there that are working or not working as best you would want them, and equally any that you'd like to see coming, please feed them in and we'll be able to take it forward. So that's the main points covered. Just before we go into any Q&A or anything you wanted to run through in particular, we also took the feedback around what was said near the end of the session as well, around Sage, how much interaction Sage have within the session. So really, you know, I'm linking in with Liz, and we'll make sure that that feedback is taken on board, and ensure that it's implemented. What we want to do is we don't want to be taking over the event where you feel it's more of a selling area. This is about value add. This is about us getting, you know, a platform to support you guys as accountants, but equally for you to have a voice within Sage as well. And that's exactly what we wanted to be moving forward. It's absolutely nothing to do with, or we wanted to be anywhere near any sort of element of selling or anything like that. So I just wanted to get that point in, but I'll hand over to Liz or anyone else who wants to ask any questions.
Any questions for Stuart at that point?
No, I think this year I've had some of my staff from Hannah. I think it was just before Stuart came on board. We had some staff attending events in Glasgow, which I think they all found really helpful, because I think most of our are self-taught with the products, and they found the events really helpful for areas of the package or packages where obviously Sage 50 has been around longer, and obviously the cloud, we've had training on that more recently, but they found that really helpful. And I think moving forwards, that there was areas of the package that had been there for a while in some instances that we just don't know they're there. You just get into a habit of using what you know. And I think with the staff we've had that went on that found it really useful. So I think moving forward we would like to continue with that, and we're trying to actively staff use Sage University so that they are constantly adding to their knowledge and becoming more competent, because obviously we've got a lot more interaction with clients now, and trying to assist clients with, we do a lot more bookkeeping than we have ever done before. So all these sort of things have been helpful, and it'd be good if they could continue next year with getting the staff more training, and getting them involved and things like that have been really helpful. I unfortunately wasn't able to attend the event in October, so I obviously wasn't involved in the roundtables and that there.
Yeah, I think, was that the Sage University events that were on in Glasgow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had a kind of quick chat at the October event about the potential of Sage running a university event in the same venue as the user group, maybe like the day before. So that if people wanted to come and do a Sage University, like on the Tuesday, for example, and then we could stay over and do the user group the next day, or work it in a way that we can fit it all into one day. But I think the universities can probably justify a day on its own, I would imagine, to be fair.
Yeah.
If we could kind of shape an event round about, the kind of thing that you've mentioned, Lorraine, about, there's been things in the software that have maybe been added in over the years, and people don't know that they're there and haven't had any training on it. All the training's been on the more cloud-based systems. So that was just something that we had a kind of brief chat about in October as well. I was at an event that Stuart was at in Aberdeen last week, so Unlocking Sage session, which was really good, and it spent quite a wee bit of time on the payroll bureau side of things, and I was really impressed with a lot of the functionality that's been brought in there as well, along with the online pay slips and things like that as well, and really looking forward to what's, same as what Stuart said, to what's coming in the future versions next year, things like self-serving as part of the employees being able to self-serve on their own pay slips as well, and their own details. But yeah, there's lots of nice things coming, and as you say, lots of nice things already in the software that we maybe just don't make the
I think
most
some
of
of them,
at the moment.
yeah, I think some of them had been there for quite a while. You know, it wasn't even as if it was on the new releases. It's just you just get into the habit when you, especially before when you maybe weren't processing as much, you get into the habit of doing things where you always done them. So I think the guys that went on, especially Sage 50 training, he found it really helpful, and there was stuff that had been there for a few years and you just kind of didn't know it was there. And I think that's the main thing with our staff. You're trying to get them, you know, because a lot of the times, you know, they'll kind of say, oh, we need them to take more of a lead, obviously, because we're now interacting a lot more with clients, being able to, because obviously they're processing, they're using Sage Cloud more. Because obviously we had a lot of clients take that on, obviously with MTD. So now there is more that advisory role rather than, you know, but sometimes it's helping with the issues and, you know, how, what do we do if this is, because a lot of the time it's solving their problems that they've maybe made mistakes and stuff like that. So a lot of these things, and it's good to be able to say to a client, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And they all of a sudden save time and, you know, it really helps with the relationship.
Yeah, that's great. Any other questions before we move on to having a chat about the next session?
Nope.
Nope. Everyone else okay? What topics would you like covered? So I had put down a few suggestions. So we have an accountant in Edinburgh who does use the end-to-end cloud system. So they use Sage Business Cloud Accounting, and then they use that through to the final accounts online, and then obviously the taxation online as well. So they do end to end, kind of from source right through to submitting it to HMRC and Companies House. And I wondered if that would be of benefit for other people to see how that actually works, or if anyone's got any experience of using the online compliance side.
We don't obviously use the Sage Tax products, but it's always interesting just to see other options that, you know, how other people do things, because obviously sometimes you can learn from things that we maybe just could get better.
Yeah, and I think they only use it for a handful of clients. Like, I think the majority of their clients are still done in the more traditional way, you know, using all kind of desktop software. But they obviously just had a few clients that they thought would suit being able to do everything online, and it, you know, it just means that you're splitting your licenses between, you know, your more advanced kind of desktop software and your cloud kind of end-to-end solution. So that was a suggestion, and to hear from the horse's mouth as well how it works, and if it's worth kind of doing for a few of your clients maybe. Accountant secure portal requirement. This was something that was mentioned kind of before the October session this year, but we've had a portal within Sage 50 that Sage have developed for the payroll side of things, but we don't really have, that I'm aware of, we don't have anything from the more compliance point of view. So if you wanted to share a set of accounts, for example, final accounts, you probably could sneakily do it through the Sage 50 payroll portal, but it would be nice if there was a portal. And I just wondered, Stuart, how do you kind of feel if that was added into the agenda for spring of next year to talk about?
Yeah, it would be good. I think there is things going on in the background in terms of looking at an accountant's hub and an accountant's portal. It's something that I'm 100% behind, but it's also something I'm also conscious that I want us to take our time and make sure that before we go out with any release or any information, we just hold and make sure that we've done enough testing before we do it. So it is something that's on the roadmap, and it is something that's being looked at. But yes, the online portal at the moment with payroll, I suppose you could kind of sneakily use it. You could, but I totally get that we do need some sort of portal requirement for the overall piece. What that looks like at the moment, I'm not 100% sure, but it is something that's on the roadmap. So yeah, I think that would be a good point to cover.
Excellent.
Yep, I agree.
Updates from specialists in Sage 50 accounts, payroll and compliance. So this used to form kind of like the morning session of the user group, and I feel it's just maybe been missing in the last couple of user groups because Sage have kind of driven the agenda a wee bit more. It would be nice to reinstate, obviously, Sage 50 accounts is still one of the most used products by the people that come along to the user group, for them and their clients. And as we were chatting about earlier on, you know, there's lots of features in there that we're maybe just not aware of. So it would be nice to have a kind of technical expert in there, maybe kind of from the product development side of things, just to have a chat about where we are at the moment and what's coming as well in the roadmap, and if there's anything that we can chat about maybe to influence that roadmap, anything that's maybe better from the cloud perspective and missing from Sage 50. And the same from the payroll perspective as well. Again, you know, an amazing bit of software, really powerful, you know, some great features in there now as well. Like, you know, personally, we get our pay slips through the online portal, and it's, you know, night and day, you know, to get them
we do too now.
through the post. So just kind of really pushing that side of it, as well as, you know, at least half of the members that come along to the user group meetings still use the desktop compliance software like Sage Accounts Production Advanced, Taxation, and making
I always
sure
feel as if the account side of it, like Sage Accounts, we obviously use Production Advanced. Sometimes that is part I've felt in the ones I've been to, we focus on a bit less. And again, that would be quite good to have. And again, sometimes I know we get obviously the updates of the new things that are coming, but you get the big email and you sort of quickly read through it, and you know, you think, right, I'll need to go back and find that and see what it. Whereas I think if we covered things like that at an event, it would probably take, you know, a minute or two to show you. You know, it's not a long looking through the emails and stuff. You know it's there, but when you're busy and you get the email and you're in the middle of something, or you know, out at a client's, it would be quite good just for somebody to run over it, and then you kind of it's a lot more streamlined, I think, with that, doing it that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think just as you say, I think just to have somebody there from the compliance side of things, you know, whether it's David Scott or whoever's best placed to attend, and also to just let us know what's happening from a roadmap perspective. I know we have the online compliance software as well as the plan that, you know, we get the same functionality in online as we have on desktop, or are we going to continue developing and investing in desktop for the next 10 years? It'd be nice to just kind of hear from Sage in terms of where the roadmap is going over the next short, medium, longer term as well. And roundtable sessions on topical issues. So I think, you know, it would be nice to hear from Sage and see what they would like, some feedback, you know, if there are products that are in development at the moment and they want some input. So, for example, the portal requirement might be a good topic to have a chat about, rather than Sage saying, you know, what's coming, maybe for us to be able to influence that slightly. But I'm open to suggestions if there's any other priorities or topics that you would like to have covered.
No, I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah. What are the kind of main talking points in the accountancy arena at the moment? Is it still MTD, or have we got any other compliance changes coming up?
I think we are kind of getting MTD, we've kind of got to the end of, or not the end of that, but we've kind of went over all the issues with that, and everyone's now signed up. And I think now what we've got is clients who are now on software that maybe perhaps we've not looked at their accounts in detail until now. You maybe have a quick glance, but you know, you're now getting to the year-end accounts, or even, you know, maybe the first few quarters of them doing MTD and realising, right, okay, the initial training needs to be updated, or, you know, they've maybe made a bit of a hash of some things or things like that. So I think that's where the training for our staff would be better, because it would be good, because obviously we're doing this at a slightly different role than maybe historically 2 years ago that we did, or what the trainees, you know, a lot of the more junior members of staff, you know, before they maybe didn't have as much interaction with clients, and they've now got that, and so they're maybe having to be able to multitask a wee bit more, and, you know, help clients with maybe a wee bit of that, you know, what about this and what about that, you know, like just read questions, which obviously when you're a trainee and just that, you know, it can be quite daunting. So I think the more we can give them comfort and feel more adapt to be able to, you know, to react to that and feel as if they've had the training that just gives them the confidence that they can answer these questions. Normally they can, but normally it's just that confidence level. They need to know that, you know, they know the product a wee bit more, which is why we've found that really helpful.
Yeah, excellent. Great. So anything else that you'd like to have a chat about that you would like to see from the user group? Anything that we're maybe not doing that you would like us to do? I know we have things like a LinkedIn group that we can talk throughout the year if there's anything that comes up. You know, anything that we do that we like. So we have an all-day session at the moment where we get to kind of network over lunch. There was a possibility of maybe having a university day the day before and then having a more kind of social dinner maybe on that evening before. So at the moment, kind of Lugo and Sage tend to get together the night before, but would be very open if, you know, the members would like to join in on that as well. If there's any suggestions, then you know where I am. You can always drop me an email after this.
And Liz, we don't have any issue doing an Unlock Sage session the day before, because the feedback we've had has been really strong from the Aberdeen session. And I'm conscious that we need to reach out to you know, we do the university events in Glasgow, and we'll be doing some in the new year. But if we're going to get the guys together from a user group point of view, the feedback will be great to see whether that would be relevant to the people who are going to attend. And if it is, then let me know, and we can certainly look at getting that done on the 3rd. If the event's getting held on that date there. Yeah,
that would be super. Yeah, so we could send out a quick poll to everyone that we've invited along to this event today, with the recording of this webinar as well, just to give people a bit of input into what kind of format they would like it to be for the next one in spring 2020 into a new decade. So Perth meeting back in McDermott Park again at St Johnstone Football Club. It seems to be still a good venue for us. They give us a lovely lunch, so it's always a deciding factor. And the date that the last time I checked, they still had availability on Wednesday the 4th of March 2020. If anyone knows of any clashes with that date, please let me know. I know obviously that's the start of a new month or a new half year for Sage. So again, if you want to push back a week or whatever, then let me know. But at the moment, we'll aim for Wednesday the 4th of March with potentially something running on Tuesday the 3rd of March, which would be more the kind of in-depth technical side, and then the more kind of user group based meeting on the Wednesday. If everyone's okay with that, we will do a quick Lugo update. We're just bang on 10 o'clock. Things that I mentioned at the October meeting, still very relevant. Obviously at this time of year, there's lots and lots of cyber criminals out there trying to get your details. One of the easiest things you can do is switch on multi-factor authentication for your email and for any other kind of important areas that you log into. Don't reuse your passwords. That's really important. Cyber Essentials, have a chat to us in the new year about going through that. There's still government funding there for £1,000, which should cover your cost. One of the main things you do on that is switch on multi-factor authentication. So it's not difficult, it's just a case of doing it. And we've got an offer on at the moment for accountants for a free dark web report, which we would normally charge £150 for, just to see if your credentials, so if your email and passwords are out there on the dark web. That's the web address. Go to that web address and you can fill in your details and I'll send you your dark web report. Finally, I'd just like to thank you for attending today and to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from me and from everyone at Lugo, and obviously from Stuart and everyone at Sage as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart, as well.
Thank you.
Thank you to people that are listening and not speaking as well. And thank you to Lorraine for all of your input. That was really invaluable today. Thank you. Hope you have a nice Christmas. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.